Following a second night of unrest after the police killing of a 17-year-old boy in Paris, over 150 people have been detained for causing chaos and burning cars in a working-class neighborhood of the city. The teenager's killing has reignited debate about police brutality in France. Following the widespread agitation, French President Emmanuel Macron called for a crisis meeting with some of his ministers on Thursday. Macron has expressed that overnight clashes over the teenager's death are completely unjustifiable. Meanwhile, the French police officer who fatally shot the teenager has been placed under investigation. In a big setback to the Rishi Sunak government, the Court of Appeal has ruled that the UK government's plan to send asylum seekers to Rwanda was unlawful, as the African nation could not be considered a safe third country. The court's verdict has effectively reversed the High Court's decision allowing the government's asylum plan. Meanwhile, the Rwanda government has said that it remains committed to a British plan to send asylum seekers to the African country. Greece's leftist leader Alexis Tsipras has said that he was stepping down from the helm of his party following its defeat in Sunday's election. In a televised address, he said that the time had come to start a new cycle, adding that a reform of the party was necessary. Poland received 14 US Abrams battle tanks as part of a deal with Washington signed in 2022. Warsaw ordered a total of 250 of these state-of-the-art Abrams battle tanks in addition to 116 tanks. These military purchases are part of Poland's ambition to deter potential Russian aggression on its eastern border. Poland's defense ministry has said that a chunk of the Polish army has been trained by the US forces to operate these modern tanks. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken has said that there is no new nuclear deal in the works for Iran. This comes after Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi's remarks on how Iran won't beg United States for an amicable deal, even if it looks forward to it. Blinken cited Iran's unwillingness to do the required to earn compliance with the international obligations that requires Tehran to cooperate fully with the International Atomic Energy Agency investigation. Blinken further urged Iran to take action escalating tensions with the United States and the rest of the West Asia. He also added that cracking a deal depends solely on Iran's actions in the coming times. New Zealand Prime Minister Chris Hipkins has expressed willingness to cooperate with China in fields of trade, tourism, education, science and technology. At the invitation of Chinese Premier Li Qiang, Hipkins says he is paying an official visit to China from June 25th to 30th. According to statistics, China has been New Zealand's largest trading and exports partner for many years. The New Zealand Prime Minister has also said that he hopes both the countries will further expand bilateral trade in multiple new emerging fields. Now, this is Hipkins' first official visit to China after he became the Prime Minister in January this year. Major fire was reported at a chemical plant in Russian city today morning. However, the cause of the fire is yet to be ascertained. Russia's emergency ministry has said that the fire had been contained to an area of 800 square meters and there was no threat to residential areas. The factory fire has so far claimed the life of one individual as it ripped through the garages of chemical production facilities. The second ship carrying Russian crude oil has arrived at Pakistan's Karachi port. The 54,000 metric tons of crude oil is said to be delivered to Islamabad refinery. Amid the worsening of its economic crisis, Pakistan recently struck a deal with Moscow to buy petroleum products. The first Russian oil shipment to the energy-starved and dollar-strapped nation arrived in June this year, while another 50,000 metric tons is expected to arrive later this week. The oil shipment comes at a time when Islamabad has less than $4 billion in foreign reserves. People in South Korea are stocking up sea salt as Japan is set to dump more than 1 million metric tons of treated radioactive water into the Pacific Ocean. The water was mainly used to cool damaged reactors at the Fukushima power plant in Tokyo after it was hit by an earthquake and tsunami in 2011. Japan has given repeated assurances that the water is safe, saying it has been filtered to remove most isotopes. However, fishermen and shoppers in Japan and across the region are afraid. China has criticized Japan's plan to release the water, accusing it of a lack of transparency and saying that it poses a threat to marine environment and the health of people around the world. Days after the Titan submersible imploded on a voyage and killed about 5 people, a Canadian ship has brought ashore the debris of the vehicle on Wednesday. It not only contains the debris of the vessel, but also some other fragments which are being presumed as human remains. The remnants of the sub were brought to St. John's Harbour in Newfoundland. The U.S. Coast Guard said that presumed human remains were also found within the debris. However, the nature and scope of the remains are not known yet. These remains will be now handed over to a U.S. port for analysis and testing by a Marine Board of Investigation. According to a survey last year, over half of Americans surveyed reported facing online harassment and hate during their lifetime. The survey figures include more than 75% of transgender responders. The survey showed that reports of online hate and harassment over the last 12 months increased within almost every demographic group in the United States. The number of reported online harassment cases went up from 40% in 2021 to 52% in 2022. The rate of harassment stood at 76% for transgender people, while 26% of Jewish respondents, 38% of Black Americans, and 38% of Muslims Japan and South Korea have agreed to revive a $10 billion currency swap deal. Now, this deal is set to improve ties to strengthen a regional financial safety net amid increased geopolitical risks. The deal was struck between the Japanese finance minister and his South Korean counterpart at a meeting in Tokyo. The swap deal was first agreed back in 2001 as a tool to help the two countries combat a financial crisis. However, it was never used and allowed to expire in 2015. The deal reached its peak in 2011 when it was worth over $70 billion. Now, Virgin Galactic is set to launch its first commercial passenger rocket plane to the edge of space. Two Italian Air Force officers and an aerospace engineer from Italy's National Research Council are set to embark on this passenger rocket to space. The flight, dubbed as Galactic 01, will take about 90 minutes to reach the edge of space. Passengers in the spaceplane's cabin will experience a few minutes of weightlessness and will be able to catch a glimpse of the planet's curvature. Virgin Galactic has approximately sold about 800 tickets for its commercial flight, which has a price tag of about $450,000 each. Now, in some business news, Rajiv Jain's investment firm GQG Partners has acquired an additional $1 billion worth of shares in Adani Group companies, bringing their total investment in the Indian conglomerate to $3.4 billion. Now, this comes as the promoter group sells stakes for the second time since allegations of stock manipulation and accounting fraud were made. The investments have resulted in a rally for Adani Enterprises, while Adani Green remains flat. GQG Partners expressed confidence in the group's financial and its role in India's infrastructure development. Overall, Adani Group shares have seen a significant increase in value in recent months. The Indian government has decided to defer the implementation of taxing overseas credit card payments by 3 months to October 1st. The government has also suspended its decision to charge up to 20% tax in remittances through credit cards under the liberalized remittance scheme. This change comes as a measure to provide more time for implementation and enhance clarity for individuals. Now, this adjustment aims to ensure a smoother transition and better understanding of the revised regulations. On to some updates from weather and climate. The city of Detroit was blanketed with smoke from raging Canadian wildfires. Locals in various U.S. states have been urged to stay indoors due to unhealthy quality of air. Air quality alerts were triggered in New York City, New Jersey, Washington, D.C. and parts of North Carolina. Overall, more than 100 million Americans were affected by the drifting smoke from prolonged wildfires. Now, Canada is struggling with its worst start of wildfire season, which has already burned over 8 million hectares, an area that is bigger than West Virginia. Now, Chile declares farm emergency after heavy rains drowned the central southern countryside on Wednesday. The heavy rainfall has hammered Chile for many days and has taken a toll on the farming regions, houses and also farmyards. According to official reports, tens of thousands have been left with damaged property. The wet weather has already claimed lives of 2 people and has left 4 missing. President Gabriel Boric flew over to a region on Tuesday after the government declared farming emergency in rain-hit areas. Now, a fishing port and river in Japan's Okinawa has been completely dyed red following the leak of a red food coloring liquid from a local beer factory. Officials from the beer factory have claimed the liquid was from a beer tank cooling system. The liquid leaked into a nearby river through the factory's rain gutters. The firm apologized for the incident and said that the liquid posed no risks to human health. The cause of the liquid leak was still being investigated. Scientists have now unveiled evidence that gravitational waves that ripple through space and time are penetrating the universe at low frequencies. Albert Einstein had predicted the existence of gravitational waves back in 1916. Gravitational waves allow for a more robust study of the universe by scientists. The discovery is announced after 7 years of gravitational waves being detected from two distant black holes. The new data will help scientists map out how galaxies form over time. Now, in a heartwarming moment captured on camera, a chimpanzee caged for 28 long years was in awe after seeing the open sky for the very first time in her life. At a Florida sanctuary, the chimpanzee is also known as Vanilla. He spent about early years in medical research lab and later was shifted to an enclosed wildlife sanctuary in Florida. Vanilla, the chimpanzee, along with fellow chimp named Shake, was released on an island at Save the Chimps Florida Sanctuary. The non-profit says Vanilla has integrated into the family group living on the island and enjoys exploring, relaxing and grooming with the other chimps. Some news from the world of tech now. Meta has announced additions and updates to Instagram and Facebook yet again. Running the application in a principled manner, Meta is bringing parental supervision to its applications. From monitoring Messenger to setting the limits, the company is making it easier for teens to monitor their time on the application and also limit unwanted activities and interactions. Now, these new updates are intended to help parents supervise their teens on social media. The parental supervision feature will be first rolled out in the United States, the United Kingdom and Canada. The updates will enable parents to take care of their children's safety online. ChatGPT has taken the world by a storm. The new tool in town has gained massive popularity over the last few months. This time, ChatGPT is expanding with what we call an India-centric approach. ChatGPT now speaks in several Indian languages like Hindi, Assamese, Bangla and a few others. After logging into your ChatGPT account, you need to specify your preference to receive a response in a particular language. For instance, if you enter your query in Hindi, the chatbot will respond in Hindi only. The responses generated by ChatGPT are fairly accurate in many regional languages like Assamese and Bangla.